Yeah, well, the script was cool. It had a lot of the things that I was looking for. One is, just the chance to go and work with Michael Bay and, to go work with Jake and the team. But it also showed, a guy who was who had a quite complex dilemma. He needed to find the money to save his wife. And the only way to do that was to go on this job with his brother. So, it was a pretty compelling story in terms of the action, in terms of the stakes. And then it was an interesting story about brotherhood, and about breaking away from family in order to solidify your own identity. And so that was a lot of what I liked about the script. But then overall, it was really the chance to go and, to work with Michael, to work with Jake, and on a project that I thought would be really fast paced and a lot of fun. Well, his brother convinces him to. Well, Will, I should say first, Will doesn't have very many options. At the beginning of the film, he is dependent on the insurance to pay for the surgery for his wife. He has a newborn son, and he needs the money. So Will is very much desperate. He goes to his brother for a loan, and his brother says, "Look, I can't give you the loan. I'm all tied up right now. But if you come on this job, you'll never have to worry about money for the rest of your life." And to Will, that sounds bad. He doesn't see that as a good opportunity, but it is the only choice that he has, and he decides to make the best of it, and as they say, desperate times calls for desperate situations, or drastic times calls for drastic measures. And going on the bank heist with his brother was definitely a drastic measure. The relationship between Will and Danny, as far as Will is concerned, is, there's definitely brotherhood and love and camaraderie, partnership and humor, between the two of them. But Will has decided that he wants to have a very specific kind of life. He wants to be a family man. He's recently just back from the Marines. He has a newborn son, and Danny's mixed up in some things that doesn't really go hand in hand with being the family man that Will is attempting to be. But he's still his brother, and he still finds Danny on the day that he needs them. On the day that he needs him. And so the film and the circumstances of the film, they pull at that, at the connection between the two and at the conflict. I think they're drawn apart because of the conflict, and they also are drawn together because of the need, to get through this dilemma. Yeah, it was a lot of fun working with Jake. Jake was interested in the relationship from the beginning, and similarly, I was as well. We really wanted to make sure that these guys were not just adopted brothers who ended up in the same space, but that they experienced each other as real brothers. That they bickered, they fought, that they laughed. That there was a big brother little brother dynamic, that there was history, and it was fun to build that with Jake. He's very curious, very very playful, and he's definitely game to get in there and try a lot of different things out. And we kind of definitely both went in wanting to make sure that the relationship was as real as possible and as strong as possible. And I think we let a lot of our own friendship carry on over into the some special moments into the film. Yeah, well, Will really never does believe that this is gonna all go well. I think he has a few moments in the film where he thinks that it's possible that they're gonna get away, but he knows that Will knows that he's going on a dead end job as soon as he says yes, but he doesn't have options. And so he has to make the best of it. I think once he gets inside of that ambulance, he knows that they've messed up. Actually, I'll rewind it. I'll say once the cop is injured, then he's all in. then he knows that he doesn't have very many options. He can't just drop the bag and run away. Now he has a responsibility, and he's directly connected to the crime. He's directly connected to the story, and he can't just wash his hands and say, you know what, my bad. And he's at the center of the entire film at that point. Eiza, she brought, a lot of heart, a lot of curiosity. She was very intent on getting it right, on following the procedures the correct way. She wanted, I think it was her goal that a paramedic would see this film and see some of themselves in this film, and her attention to detail, and her attention to the patients, her attention to specifics. And Will, in terms of their relationship, Will brought a lot of guilt to the back of that ambulance. He brought a lot of optimism also. I think he always thought that he could figure this out. I think he wanted to save her. He saw the good in her, and he knew that she was just a victim of circumstance in the same way that he would probably consider himself a victim of circumstance. And whether that's a naive thought or not, I think it's the way that Will had to view the situation, and I think they both bonded over that aspect of their reality, is that they would both honestly, truly prefer to be somewhere else, and that they didn't deserve to be in that situation. I actually did drive an ambulance. They set me up in a big lot, put me in an ambulance, and put up some cones, and I did cone drills, and I did like just about drifting in the ambulance, and driving really fast and coming to sudden stops, and it was exciting, and I did it. I think that was my first day on the job. They just put me in the ambulance and said, "Go. Don't be afraid. It's not going to tip. It's not going to tip even if you try to make it tip." And then I was off, and I was driving at high speed in an ambulance, and it felt natural. I felt like, I had driven a U-Haul once or twice before. Not at that speed, but that was the closest thing that I could associate with, that feeling of getting behind an ambulance. But then you got all the buttons, and then you got the sirens, and then the stakes, and the adrenaline, and the cameras, and things like that. It was definitely one of the more exciting pieces of stunt work that I've done. Not enough, whatever I can say, it's not enough. Not like Mike is a pleasure to work with. He loves filmmaking, and he's just exciting. I think he brings an energy to the set. And it's almost as if it's his first time making a movie, and but he's an expert at the same time. He brings a freshness to it. I think he's a cat who really loves his job, and you can tell it in the work. He's very, very passionate. He's funny. And he obviously he's known for the big set pieces and things like that also. But he has a very astute attention to detail. We see that in some of the smaller, intimate moments, as well as the larger moments. Also. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I think this is a movie. It's action packed. It's a suspenseful drama. I think it's a thriller. It's a heist movie, but it's also a heart movie. It's also a movie about family and about values and about what will you do when your back is against the wall. It's a movie about honor. It's a movie about right and wrong, and I think it's a movie about heroes and about heroes in difficult circumstances. So there's a lot of everything, for everyone in this film. It's fun, it's funny, it'll make you laugh, and it might make you cry, but I think you'll definitely have a good time, no matter what.